15 degrees in Nashville on Monday morning, and that's if you still have power. Right now, thousands across Tennessee are dealing with outages from the last storm, and I need you to understand something. What is coming this weekend is going to make that look like a warm-up act. A bomb cyclone is about to explode off the Carolina coast, potentially reaching 965 millibars, which is hurricane-level intensity in the middle of winter, and the Arctic blast that wraps around behind it could send temperatures plummeting to levels we haven't seen in over a decade. Your heating bill, your pipes, your ability to even leave your house, it's all about to be tested. I am going to walk you through exactly when this arrives, which cities are in the danger zone, and why the next 5 days are setting up something we are going to be talking about for years. But I need something from you first. Comment your city name right now, just the city. Tomorrow I am doing personalized forecasts for every single location you mention, and based on what I am seeing in the models, you are going to need that information. Let me get you the critical windows immediately. Charlotte, you could see snow as early as Friday night, continuing into Saturday morning with the heaviest period Saturday afternoon. Raleigh, Friday night into Saturday is your time frame, and we re-talking about potentially crippling amounts. Richmond, Saturday morning through Saturday night. This could be the most significant snow event you've seen in years. Norfolk, Saturday afternoon and evening, and the coastal dynamics here are fascinating in a concerning way. Baltimore, Saturday evening into Sunday morning. Philadelphia, Saturday night is when it really gets going for you. Newark, very similar timing, late Saturday into Sunday. Hartford, Sunday morning into afternoon. Providence, Sunday midday through evening. Portland, Maine, Sunday evening into Monday morning, and the cold that follows is going to be absolutely brutal for you. Here's what we know as of Wednesday, January 28th. I am recording this after looking at the latest model runs, and I have to tell you, there have been some shifts that we need to discuss. Yesterday, I told you the models were showing this storm tracking mostly offshore. Today, European model has trended about 40 miles closer to the coast. That might not sound like much, but in winter storm forecasting, 40 miles is the difference between 6 inches and 18 inches. It's the difference between a manageable snow event and a complete shutdown. This western trend is significant, and if it continues in tonight's model runs, we are going to have to seriously upgrade snow totals for the I-95 corridor. Let's start with what hasn't changed. The storm is still going to undergo rapid intensification, what meteorologists call bombogenesis. A clipper system dropping out of Canada is going to phase with Gulf moisture off the mid-Atlantic coast, and when these two energy sources merge, we're looking at explosive development. The central pressure could drop 30 to 40 millibars in 24 hours, that textbook bomb cyclone criteria. What this means in practical terms is that snow rates could be extreme, potentially 2 to 4 inches per hour during the heaviest bursts. When you get snow falling that fast, visibility drops to near zero, roads become impassable almost immediately, and even the best-equipped snow removal operations struggle to keep up. Now let's talk about what has changed. Yesterday, models had the heaviest snow focused on eastern North Carolina and southeastern Virginia. Today, European model has shifted that axis of heaviest snow northward and westward. We're now looking at the potential for significant snow to extend all the way up through the Delmarva Peninsula, across southern New Jersey, and into the New York City metro area. The GFS model hasn't made quite as dramatic a shift, but it has also nudged westward compared to yesterday. When you see multiple models trending in the same direction, that when you start to increase confidence in that solution. Let me show you what this means city by city, and I am going to start in the Deep South because they're not used to this kind of thing. Savannah, Georgia, earlier this week I mentioned the possibility of snow. Now I need to tell you that some model runs are showing 3 to 6 inches for you. Savannah doesn't handle an inch of snow well. 6 inches would be catastrophic for your city. Everything shuts down. The good news, if you can call it that, is there's still uncertainty here. But the potential exists, and you need to be prepared for it. Charleston, South Carolina, we're now looking at potential snow totals of 10 to 16 inches. I need you to hear that number again. 10 to 16 inches in Charleston. That would be absolutely historic. Your city would be completely paralyzed. Columbia, South Carolina, 8 to 14 inches is now in play. Greenville, South Carolina, 6 to 10 inches. Spartanburg, similar range. North Carolina, let's talk about what we're seeing. Wilmington, Uri on the coast. And the question for you is going to be how quickly you transition from rain to snow. If you can get established as snow Saturday morning, you could end up with 10 to 14 inches. If you stay rain longer, you might only see 4 to 6. It's going to come down to the exact track and the temperature profile. Raleigh, this is where it gets serious. The European model is now showing 18 to 24 inches for the triangle. That S not a typo. We were talking about potentially 2 feet of snow for Raleigh, Durham, Cary, Chapel Hill. That would be the kind of storm that gets remembered for generations. Schools closed for a week. Businesses shut down. State of emergency declared. This is major event territory. Durham, same situation. Greensboro, 14 to 20 inches. Winston-Salem, 12 to 18. Charlotte, 10 to 16 inches. And Charlotte, you are the largest city in the Carolinas. This would be absolutely crippling for your metro area. Let me pause here and talk about the uncertainty because I don't want anyone getting too locked into these numbers. We are still 3 days out. 3 days is close enough to have good confidence in the overall pattern, but it's far enough out that the specific details can still change. What I'm giving you are the current model solutions. Tomorrow, these numbers could go up, they could go down. The bullseye could shift east or west by 50 to 100 miles. This is why I keep emphasizing that you need to check back daily because this forecast is going to evolve. But the potential for a significant, possibly historic winter storm is real and increasing. Virginia, let's work our way up the state. Virginia Beach and Norfolk, we're now looking at 12 to 18 inches based on the latest European model. The GFS is a bit less aggressive, showing 8 to 14. When you average the models together, you're still looking at around a foot of snow for the Hampton Roads area. That S massive for you. Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Newport News, you're all in the same boat. Richmond, this is interesting. Richmond has moved into the higher probability zone for major snow. We're now talking about 10 to 16 inches. That western trend in the models has brought Richmond more into the sweet spot. Charlottesville, 8 to 12 inches. Fredericksburg, Uri in the northern part of the state, 9 to 14 inches. Roanoke, 6 to 10 inches. Northern Virginia, this deserves its own section because this is one of the most populated areas in the region. Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, you're all looking at potential snow totals of 8 to 14 inches now. That S up from the 6 to 10 I mentioned yesterday. Falls Church, similar. Manassas, potentially 9 to 15 inches because you are a bit further west. Tyson's Corner, 8 to 13. Loudoun County, you could see some of the higher totals in Northern Virginia, potentially 10 to 16 inches in some areas. This is significant snow for the D.C. suburbs, and it is going to create major problems on the Beltway and all the major commuter routes. Washington, D.C. proper, the nation's capital is now looking at 8 to 12 inches based on current model consensus. That S enough to shut down the federal government. That S enough to close Reagan National and Dulles airports for an extended period. That S enough to make the metro system struggle. If you work for the federal government, start planning now for the possibility of telework Monday or even an extended closure. If you have travel plans Sunday or Monday, seriously reconsider them. Maryland, let's cover the whole state. Baltimore, you are now in the 8 to 12 inch range as well. Annapolis, 7 to 11. The Eastern Shore is where it gets really interesting. Ocean City, Salisbury, Cambridge, you are all in a zone where you could see significant snow if you can get established as snow rather than rain. Could be anywhere from 6 to 12 inches depending on that rain-snow line. Frederick, you are west of Baltimore, 9 to 14 inches. Hagerstown, 8 to 12. Southern Maryland, particularly St. Mary's County, Calvert County, Charles County, you are in that 10 to 14 inch zone potentially. Delaware needs attention because the entire state is in the impact zone. Wilmington, 8 to 12 inches. Dover, 7 to 11. Rehoboth Beach, Bethany Beach, Lewis, you're all going to be watching that rain-snow line carefully. Could be anywhere from 4 to 10 inches depending on temperature. New Jersey, the Garden State, is looking at significant impacts. Newark, we now up to 8 to 14 inches in the latest runs. Jersey City, Hoboken, very similar. Patterson, 9 to 15. Morristown, potentially 10 to 16 because you are at elevation. Trenton, 8 to 12. Princeton, 9 to 13. Atlantic City, this is where the rain-snow line becomes critical. You could start as rain Saturday, change to snow Saturday night, and if you get enough time as snow, you could still pick up 6 to 10 inches. But if you stay rain too long, you might only see 2 to 4. Cape May, similar situation. The rest of the Jersey Shore, from Ocean City up through Point Pleasant, you're all going to be right on that line. It's frustrating, I know, but this is winter storm forecasting in coastal areas. Pennsylvania, let's start in Philadelphia. The city of brotherly love is now looking at 8 to 14 inches. That is a significant uptick from yesterday's forecast. King of Prussia, similar totals. The Maine line, you could see 10 to 16 in some spots. Allentown and the Lehigh Valley, 10 to 16 inches. Bethlehem, Easton, you are in the same range, reading 9 to 14. Lancaster, 8 to 12. York, 7 to 11. Harrisburg, the state capital, is looking at 8 to 12 inches. Scranton, you are in northeastern PA, 11 to 16 inches is possible. Wilkes-Barre, 10 to 15. The Poconos could see some of the highest totals in Pennsylvania, potentially 14 to 20 inches at elevation. Now let's shift to New York, and this is where today's model trends have really made a difference. Yesterday I was telling you New York City might only see moderate snow totals. Today I have to revise that upwards significantly. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, you're all now looking at potential snow totals of 10 to 16 inches. That's legitimate major snow for New York City. The last time you saw snow like that was, what, 2016? This would be a massive disruption. The subway system is going to struggle. The airports are going to shut down. Roads are going to be a disaster. Long Island needs its own discussion. Nassau County, you are looking at 10 to 16 inches. Suffolk County, as you go further east, totals could go even higher. Islip, Riverhead, you could see 12 to 18 inches. The Hamptons, potentially 14 to 20 inches because you're going to be right on the edge of that heavy banding. Upstate New York, let's go region by region. Westchester County, White Plains, Yonkers, you're looking at 10 to 16 inches. Rockland County, similar totals. The Hudson Valley, Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, 9 to 14 inches. Albany, the capital region, is now in the 10 to 16 inch zone. Syracuse, you measure yourself by snow every winter. This storm is going to give you 12 to 18 inches, and that S before any lake effect enhancement. Rochester, 10 to 16 from the main system, then you are going to get hammered by lake effect afterward. Buffalo, similar story. The initial storm gives you 8 to 12, then Lake Erie and Lake Ontario set up for potentially another 12 to 20 inches of lake effect Monday into Tuesday. Connecticut, every part of the state is going to see significant snow. Danbury, 8 to 14 inches. Bridgeport, 9 to 15. New Haven, 10 to 16. Hartford, the capital, is looking at 10 to 16 inches. New London, Groton, the southeastern part of the state, could see 12 to 18. The Quiet Corner, northeastern Connecticut, potentially 14 to 20 inches. Rhode Island, the ocean state, is squarely in the impact zone. Providence, 10 to 16 inches. Warwick, similar. Newport, you are coastal, but you are still looking at 8 to 14. Westerly, potentially 10 to 16. Massachusetts, let's start in Boston. The latest European model has you at 12 to 18 inches from this storm. But here's what makes this particularly challenging for you, Boston. You already have over 2 feet of snow on the ground from the last storm. You are about to add potentially another 12 to 18 inches on top of that. We are talking about snow depths of 3 to 4 feet in some areas. Roofs that are already loaded are going to get more weight. Snow removal is going to be even more difficult because you running out of places to put it. Worcester, you at elevation, you going to do very well with this storm. 14 to 20 inches is possible for you. Springfield, the western part of the state, 10 to 16 inches. Cape Cod, this is tricky. You are going to start as rain Saturday, transition to heavy snow Saturday night into Sunday, and you could end up with 6 to 12 inches depending on timing. Barnstable, Hyannis, Falmouth, you are all in that range. Martha S. Vineyard and Nantucket, 5 to 10 inches most likely. Let me talk about Maine because you on the northern edge of this system and the forecast is complicated. Portland, you are looking at 10 to 14 inches starting Sunday into Monday. But the timing for you is actually worse than areas further south. You are getting this Sunday night into Monday morning, and then temperatures are going to absolutely crash. We are talking about cleanup happening in single-digit temperatures with below zero wind chills. That S dangerous for work crews. That S dangerous for anyone trying to clear their driveway. Bangor, 8 to 12 inches with the same brutal cold following. Augusta, 9 to 13 inches. The western mountains of Maine could see even higher amounts, potentially 12 to 16 inches. New Hampshire, the Granite State, is going to see significant impacts. Manchester, 10 to 14 inches. Nashua, similar. Concord, the capital city, 9 to 14 inches. Portsmouth, URE coastal, 8 to 12. The White Mountains are going to get crushed, potentially 16 to 24 inches at elevation. If you're replanning any winter recreation next week, conditions are going to be incredible for skiing, but extremely dangerous for anything else. Vermont Burlington is on the northwestern edge, so your totals are going to be lighter than areas to the south and east, 6 to 10 inches most likely. Montpelier, 8 to 12, Rutland, 7 to 11. But Vermont, like Maine and New Hampshire, the story for you is less about the snow totals and more about the brutal cold that follows. Now let's talk about that cold, because this is where things get truly concerning. I mentioned 15 degrees in Nashville at the top of this video. Let me walk you through what Monday morning looks like across the entire region, and these numbers are based on the latest model consensus. Miami, 36 degrees. Fort Lauderdale, 35. West Palm Beach, 33. We re-looking at widespread freezing temperatures across interior South Florida. Fort Myers, 34, Naples, 35, Vero Beach, 32, right at freezing. This is the kind of cold that kills citrus crops. This is the kind of cold that causes widespread infrastructure problems in a state that's not built for it. Orlando, 29 degrees Monday morning. That's well below freezing in a city where pipes aren't insulated the way they are up north. Jacksonville, 26 degrees. Tallahassee, 22. Gainesville, 24. Pensacola, 28. The entire state of Florida is going to be unseasonably cold, but North Florida is going to be absolutely frigid. Georgia, let's go city by city. Savannah, 24 degrees. That's after whatever snow you might get from the weekend storm. Brunswick, 26. Valdosta, 28. Macon, 22 degrees. Augusta, 20 degrees. Athens, 18. Atlanta, you were looking at 20 degrees Monday morning with wind chills in the single digits. Columbus, Georgia, 24. Albany, Georgia, 26. South Carolina, these temperatures are going to compound the problems from the snow. Charleston, 21 degrees Monday morning. That means whatever snow falls Saturday is not melting. It's staying on the ground, turning to ice, creating hazardous conditions for days. Columbia, 18 degrees. Greenville, 16. Spartanburg, 14. Myrtle Beach, 23. Florence, 20. Rock Hill, 16. North Carolina, brutal cold following what could be historic snow. Wilmington, 22 degrees. Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, the entire triangle is looking at 16 degrees Monday morning. That's dangerous cold, especially if there are any power outages from the weight of snow on power lines. Greensboro, 14 degrees. Winston-Salem, 13. Charlotte, 15 degrees. Asheville, you are in the mountains, 12 degrees. Fayetteville, 18. Greenville, North Carolina, 17. Virginia, the cold is going to be severe statewide. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Hampton, you are all looking at 20 degrees Monday morning. Richmond, 16 degrees. Charlottesville, 14. Roanoke, 12. Lynchburg, 13. Fredericksburg, 15. Northern Virginia, Arlington, and Alexandria are looking at 14 degrees. Fairfax, 13. Manassas, 12. Washington, D.C., 13 degrees Monday morning with wind chills near 0 or below. That is extremely cold for the nation's capital, and it's going to persist. Tuesday morning might be even colder. Maryland, Baltimore is looking at 14 degrees Monday morning. Annapolis, 15. Ocean City, 18 because you are coastal. Frederick, 12. Hagerstown, 10. Southern Maryland, around 14 degrees. Delaware, Wilmington is looking at 15 degrees. Dover, 16. Rehoboth Beach, 19. New Jersey, Newark is looking at 13 degrees Monday morning. Jersey City, 14. Trenton, 12. Atlantic City, 17. The interior parts of New Jersey, around 10 to 12 degrees. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is looking at 12 degrees Monday morning. Allentown, 10. Reading, 11. Lancaster, 12. Harrisburg, 11. Scranton, 8 degrees. Wilkes-Barre, 7. Pittsburgh, on the western side of the state, you're looking at 6 degrees. Erie, 8 degrees. But your lake effect snow is going to make everything more challenging. New York, this is where it gets really brutal. New York City, Manhattan, 11 degrees Monday morning. Brooklyn and Queens, similar. Staten Island, 12. The Bronx, 10. Long Island, 13 to 15 degrees, depending on how far east you are. Albany, 6 degrees. Syracuse, 4 degrees. Rochester, 5. Buffalo, 6 degrees. When you factor in wind chills behind this departing storm, Buffalo could feel like 15 to 20 below zero Monday morning. Connecticut, Hartford is looking at 9 degrees Monday morning. New Haven, 10. Bridgeport, 11. Danbury, 8. Rhode Island, Providence is looking at 10 degrees Monday morning. Newport, 12. Westerly, 9. Massachusetts, Boston is looking at 8 degrees Monday morning. Worcester, 6 degrees. Springfield, 7. The Cape, 10 to 12 degrees. New Hampshire, Manchester is looking at 6 degrees. Concord, 4. Portsmouth, 8. Vermont, Burlington is looking at 4 degrees Monday morning. Montpelier, 2. Rutland, 3. Maine, Portland is looking at 6 degrees Monday morning. Bangor, 2 degrees. Augusta, 4. Caribou, you are in northern Maine, you could be looking at -5 degrees. Let me talk about the Midwest, because you are not escaping this either. Chicago, 3 degrees Monday morning. Milwaukee, 2. Detroit, 4. Indianapolis, 8. Columbus, Ohio, 9. Cincinnati, 7. Cleveland, 6. Toledo, 4. Grand Rapids, 3. Minneapolis, -2. Madison, Wisconsin, 1 degree. Des Moines, 5. Omaha, 8. The South is going to be cold in places that rarely see temperatures like this. Memphis, 16 degrees. Nashville, 14. Knoxville, 12. Louisville, 10. Lexington, 11. Birmingham, Alabama, 18 degrees. Huntsville, 16. Montgomery, 22. Jackson, Mississippi, 20. Shreveport, Louisiana, 24. Little Rock, Arkansas, 18. Even Texas is going to feel this. Dallas, 24 degrees Monday morning. Fort Worth, 23. Houston, 31 degrees, just below freezing. San Antonio, 34. Austin, 32. Amarillo, 18. Lubbock, 20. This is some of the most widespread cold I've seen in years. The only places escaping are the West Coast and the Southwest. Los Angeles, you are fine. Phoenix, you are fine. Las Vegas, you are fine. Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, you are all fine. But from the Rockies eastward, this is going to be brutal. Now, here's something I need you to understand about cold this severe. It's not just uncomfortable, it is dangerous. Hypothermia can set in quickly, especially if you are wet from dealing with snow removal. Frostbite can happen in minutes on exposed skin when wind chills are below 0. If you have to be outside, dress in layers, cover every bit of exposed skin, limit your time outside to what's absolutely necessary. Check on elderly neighbors. Make sure homeless populations in your area have access to warming shelters. This is community responsibility time. For those of you who might lose power during or after the storm, losing power when it's 20 degrees outside is very different from losing power when it is 5 degrees outside. Have a plan. Know where your warming shelters are. Have alternative heat sources if possible, but for God's sake, use them safely. Every winter we hear about carbon monoxide deaths from improper generator use or from people using grills or camping stoves inside. Don, to be that statistic, let me talk about compounding problems because this is where winter storms go from inconvenient to dangerous. First, you get heavy snow. That S problem 1. Then you get high winds from the intensifying storm system, which creates near blizzard conditions and snowdrifts. That S problem 2. Then temperatures crash, making cleanup dangerous and ensuring nothing melts. That S problem 3. Then the cold persists for days, which means ongoing heating costs, ongoing danger for vulnerable populations, and ongoing challenges for infrastructure. That S problem 4. This is a cascade of problems, and they all feed into each other. For the Carolinas specifically, I cannot emphasize this enough. If this storm delivers anywhere close to what the models are showing, do not try to drive. I don't care if you have a 4-wheel drive truck. I don't care if you have snow tires. If you are not experienced driving in a foot or more of snow, stay home. Your city doesn't have the equipment to clear this quickly. Other drivers around you don't have experience with it. It's a recipe for disaster. The best thing you can do is stock up now, be prepared to stay home for several days, and wait it out. I want to talk about the model trends because understanding this helps you understand why the forecast keeps changing. Monday, CS models had this storm going out to sea. Tuesday, ES models brought it closer to the coast. Today, ES models brought it even closer. That is a consistent westward trend over 3 days. When you see a trend like that, it means something in the atmosphere is consistently being adjusted by the models. It might be the strength of high pressure to the north. It might be the timing of the phasing between the Clipper and the Gulf energy. It might be subtle differences in sea surface temperatures. But whatever it is, the models are telling us this storm wants to track closer to the coast than we initially thought. Does that mean it's definitely going to continue trending west? No, trends can reverse. Tomorrow's models could shift back east. But when you see a multi-day trend in one direction, that increases the probability that the trend is real. This is why I am taking the Western solutions more seriously today than I was yesterday. The models are trying to tell us something, and we need to listen. One specific thing I am watching in tonight's model runs is the position of the low at hour 72, which would be Saturday evening. If the low is positioned east of 76 degrees west longitude, that favors an offshore track with the heaviest snow staying south and east. If the low is west of 76 degrees, that favors a track closer to the coast with heavier snow extending further north and west. That 76-degree line is basically running through the Outer Banks. It's a critical demarcation line for this forecast. I also want to talk about snow-to-liquid ratios because this affects how much snow you get from a given amount of precipitation. In typical snow events, you might see a 10-to-1 ratio. 10 inches of snow from 1 inch of liquid precipitation. But when you have very cold air, which we're going to have, those ratios can increase to 15-to-1 or even 20-to-1. That means fluffier, lighter snow that piles up quickly. It's great for snowball fights and building snowmen, but it's also snow that blows around easily in wind, creating visibility problems and drifting issues. The wind is something we haven't talked about enough. With a storm this intense, wind speeds are going to be significant. Sustained winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour are likely along the coast, with gusts potentially reaching 60 to 70 miles per hour in some spots. That's strong enough to cause power outages from tree limbs breaking. That's strong enough to create blizzard conditions even if snow rates aren't extreme. When you combine heavy snow with high winds, visibility drops to near zero. That is when travel becomes impossible, not just inadvisable. For coastal areas, wind-driven storm surge and coastal flooding are concerns. The Outer Banks, the Virginia coast, Delaware beaches, southern New Jersey shore, you all need to be monitoring coastal flood warnings and advisories. We're likely to see water pushed inland by persistent, strong onshore winds. This could impact beachfront properties and cause flooding on low-lying coastal roads. It's probably not going to be catastrophic, but it could be significant. Let me give you a timeline because knowing when things happen helps with preparation. Friday afternoon and evening, the southern energy begins to move northeast through the Gulf. Friday night, light precipitation begins to overspread the Carolinas. This could start as rain near the coast, snow inland. Saturday morning, the Clipper and Gulf systems begin to phase off the mid-Atlantic coast. Precipitation intensifies. Snow becomes heavy across the Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland. Saturday afternoon and evening, the storm rapidly intensifies. This is when we see explosive development and the heaviest snow rates. Areas seeing 2 to 4 inches per hour are possible. Saturday night, the heaviest snow shifts northward into the mid-Atlantic and southern New England. Sunday morning, the storm is at peak intensity off the New England coast. Heavy snow continues from New York through Boston. Sunday afternoon, snow begins to taper from south to north as the storm pulls away. Sunday night into Monday, the Arctic blast arrives with temperatures crashing. That's your timeline. Use it to plan. If you need to get groceries, do it before Friday evening. If you have travel plans, seriously reconsider anything Saturday through Monday. If you need to move your car to help with snow removal, do it early. If you have medical appointments, try to reschedule if they are Saturday through Monday. I also want to talk about power outages because they are a real possibility. Heavy wet snow combined with high winds can bring down power lines. Tree limbs loaded with snow can break and fall on wires. If you lose power when it's 15 degrees outside, that's a serious safety situation. Have flashlights, not just candles. Have a battery-powered or hand-crank radio. Have a plan for where you'll go if your home becomes uninhabitable. Know where the warming shelters are in your community. Have your phone fully charged before the storm hits. Have backup battery packs if you have them. For those of you with medical needs, with infants, with elderly family members, with pets, have a plan. Know where you can go if conditions become unsafe at home. Don't wait until you're in crisis to figure this out. Plan now. Let me talk about what happens after this storm because the pattern doesn't just flip back to normal. The long-range models are showing this cold persisting for at least 7 to 10 days. That is highly unusual. Typically, Arctic blasts are intense but brief. This one has staying power because of blocking patterns setting up in the upper atmosphere. There is a ridge building over Greenland, and when you get Greenland blocking, it tends to lock cold air in place over the eastern United States. What this means practically is that whatever snow falls this weekend, it's not melting anytime soon. In the south, where you might normally see snow melt within a day or two, it could stick around for a week. In the north, it's definitely sticking around. Boston, your snowpack is going to persist well into February at this rate. There's also the possibility of additional storm systems in this pattern. The long-range models are hinting at another potential East Coast storm around February 7th or 8th. It's too early for details, but the pattern looks supportive. This could be an active period that extends for the next 2 weeks. For tomorrow's update, here's what I'm going to be looking at. The 12Z European model run, which is the midday run. If that continues the westward trend, we're going to have to seriously consider upgrading snow totals for I-95. If it shifts back east, then maybe the offshore solution is right after all. I am also going to be looking at the GFS ensemble spread. Are the members clustering or are they all over the place? I am going to be watching actual observations from the Gulf. Is that southern energy organizing faster or slower than expected? All of this feeds into tomorrow's forecast update. The bottom line is this: we retracking a potentially major to historic winter storm for this weekend, followed by what could be the coldest air of the entire winter season. The details are still being refined, but the potential for significant impacts is high and increasing. The Carolinas and Virginia are in the highest probability zone for major snow. The I-95 corridor from D.C. to Boston has an increasing chance of significant snow based on today's model trends. Everyone from Florida to Maine needs to prepare for brutal cold Monday and Tuesday. This is not a drill. This is not hype. This is a legitimate, significant winter weather event developing, and you need to take it seriously. Thank you for watching this update. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button. If you not subscribed, please subscribe because tomorrow's update is going to be critical. Drop your city in the comments right now for tomorrow's personalized forecast. I'll see you tomorrow evening with the latest model data and refined snow totals. Stay safe, prepare now, and Donna, take